from the station that stands for Kansas City. This is KCTV 5 News at 10.
Here comes spring. Right now, in your Storm Track 5 forecast, we are tracking the first day of a new season that will greet you tomorrow. Storm Track 5 meteorologist Gary Amble is here to explain if it will feel like spring or not. Gary.
Well, no, it will not. At 11:15 on Tuesday, that's when spring officially arrives. I'm tracking a little bit of light drizzle, as you can see here on the Kansas side of the state line. So spring does arrive tomorrow, according to the calendar, but you're not going to feel spring-like weather for about another 28 hours. The middle of Wednesday is when you'll start to feel the effects of that. 46 is the temperature right now. We're down to freezing in the morning tomorrow. By noon, 43. Spring will have arrived at that hour, and 48 degrees by 4 o'clock makes it a very cold first day of spring. Second day of spring, much warmer. I'm tracking that, Ellen, in your Storm Track 5 forecast coming up.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Gary. Developing tonight, a measles outbreak is continuing to grow in our area. And now we're learning that people at a local movie theater may have been exposed. Health department officials are now sweeping this AMC movie theater in Johnson County. They say someone infected with the measles was there while contagious. The virus can live for up to 2 hours in the air when an infected person coughs or sneezes. So far, 10 cases of the measles have been identified in Johnson, Lynn, and Miami counties in Kansas. New developments out of Parkland, Florida tonight. The brother of confessed school shooter Nicholas Cruz has been arrested. Police say Zachary Cruz trespassed at the high school where 17 people were murdered by his brother. Zachary had been warned before to stay away from that campus. A committee of lawmakers in Topeka has approved a bill aimed at making schools safer from gun violence. The bill would provide $5 million for things like metal detectors and hardened glass. It also requires schools and education groups to establish guidelines for fortifying schools against armed threats. Swastikas, racial slurs, and Hail Satan now cover a statue in KCK. And tonight, police are looking for whoever did it. Now, an officer has volunteered to clean it up, and he believes he will be able to get all of those markings off. New here at 10, an elderly woman says the city of KCMO is threatening her with a fine and even jail time for where she stores her recycling bin. KCTV 5's Rudy Harper is live in the Volker neighborhood to explain. Rudy.
Ellen, she's 80 years old, and it's convenient for her to keep her recycling bin right up here on her front porch, especially on days like today when it can fill up with rain. Mary Byrne has lived on the corner of 41st and Genesee for most of her life. The 80-year-old says last week she received an order from the city to remove her recycling bin and white cooler from her front porch. If she didn't, the notice says she's subject to prosecution in municipal court, which could lead to jail time and fines up to $450.
Right here.
She says she keeps the recycle bin on her front porch to protect it from the elements such as rain and snow and animals that roam around at night.
Well, I just think it's stupid that they would consider that a nuisance.
It's pretty ridiculous, the idea that the city would sell you a recycling bin and then cite you for putting it on your porch.
It's just to try to keep an abundance of things off of lawns and off of front porches because we don't want the neighborhoods to look cluttered.
And Mary says a neighbor made the complaint. That's why the city sent out an investigator. Meanwhile, the recycling bin is right here on the side of the house, out of reach for that 80-year-old who says she may not recycle again. Live in Kansas City, Rudy Harper, KCTV 5 News.
Thanks, Rudy. Some watchful neighbors in Overland Park stopped a man who was pretending to work for Google Fiber just to break into homes. One homeowner says the man knocked on his door early Sunday morning claiming he needed to check their router. Well, they didn't let him in, and instead they called police. 26-year-old Brandon Swaw, you see him right there, is now behind bars, and he's been charged with several crimes. Developing tonight, Governor Eric Greitens may go on trial sooner than we thought. The governor's legal team surprised everyone today, saying, let's have the trial in a couple of weeks. We have nothing to hide. And new tonight, his defense team is trying to kick one of the lawyers off the prosecuting team. They say he's violating Missouri law by arguing the case. The governor is charged with a felony for invasion of privacy. Investigators say it's suicide, but a family says their daughter was murdered. Even her death certificate says 28-year-old Angie Schroer took her own life. But her family believes the whole scene was staged. They're accusing the Independence Police Department of failing to do their job. KCTV5 investigative reporter Emily Sinovic has been digging into this case for 5 months. Some of what you're about to hear and see is graphic.
Hey, Dad. It's Angie. Happy Father's Day. You are the greatest dad, and I hope we can talk a little later. I hope you're having a good day. Love you. Bye.
That voicemail will never be deleted.
She's never gonna call again. She's never gonna come in here again.
Only 28 years old and gone. 3 days after Angie left that Father's Day voicemail, her dad got a different call, this time from police, telling him his little girl was dead.
It's been hell. I don't know how else to explain it.